Hey there, I've been enjoying this game called Sledders. It just came out of early access on Steam about a week ago on the 20th of March, and I wanted to make a full-on guide for all the Steam achievements and how to acquire them. I broke them down into 3 easy categories for you guys. We got climbs, jumps, and playing over time. And to kick it off, our first one here, Summit Survivor, is to get to the peak of Woodland, and I will show you that right here. Coming off spawn, it's going to be straight up basically on top of this peak here as shown on the map. There's several ways you can get up here. I took the back route from the backside of the mountain. You can go kind of from the left as well, or possibly the right up through here. Totally up to you and your skill level, but that's where it is on the map. Next, we got Above the Clouds, which is the peak of high peaks. For this one there, off spawn, it's going to be straight up and a bit to the right. And you will need to get to around here on the map, a little bit past my point. You can even climb to the top up here. Best way to do this, in my opinion, is to go through either this one here, straight up this point, up on the right, which will lead you up here. And then once you're on this area, you'll make a climb up, straight up to the right over here. This one is a bit harder as you have to be able to go straight up and control your snowmobile, but that's where it is again on the map here. Next, we have the secret sign on high peaks. Again, this is going to be near our last point, right here on the map. And if you've already got to the top of this, you can go from the top down and follow this down here until eventually you get to that secret sign down this little gully. It is possible to go from the bottom up, but I recommend coming from the top down as it's just a bit easier to get to that sign. As you can see, it's right here. And finally, for the last climbs one, we have the Goodbye Snowman, which can be found on the valley. And off spawn, it's going to be basically straight up on the top of this peak here on the map. And you will need a little bit of speed as you have to knock this snowman over, like so. Getting up here is pretty straightforward. You can either come from the right of it or the left, in my opinion. It's a little bit harder to come from this side as it's steeper. And again, a little bit more difficult as this map has a lot of trees. Now that we've made it through all the climbs, we're going to move on to jump achievements first, starting with just going to send it. This one's relatively easy. Find a good jump where you can send the Johanna Cinder off of. And for me, I like to go on the mountains map and go on top of the mountain here around this area. Make sure your sled is set to the Johanna Cinder, or I guess just the Johanna. And you're going to need a bit of speed. And 30 meters is relatively easy to get. Next, we have the Freefall achievement, which is fall 50 meters. This one, I recommend going on to high peaks. If you've got the previous achievements, this should be pretty straightforward. Go from the top of one of these mountainous areas, find a cliff to kind of jump off to, and you should get this achievement. This might take a few tries, as you might crash, but keep trying. Record-breaking jump, which is jump 80 meters, is a little bit more difficult. For me, I did it on mountains. Again, going back to where we were a second ago. Starting back around here, and you're going to need to get a lot of speed and go off this point over here. Making sure you're aiming slightly more right so you get more airtime. And like that, you should have it. The spot is a little bit more difficult, but I found it the easiest to get it on as it has a bit of a downhill to land on. So I hope that helps. Ghost Run, I recommend going on high peaks again and going up into a high mountainy area where you can purposely crash and hopefully your snowmobile will go flying down the hill. Spots like this work pretty good. Again, this might take a few tries, but eventually you'll get the achievement. Next, for landing a front flip and landing a backflip, I recommend we go to Woodland and going right here on the map. There's a really good jump that you can get both these achievements easily. Set yourself up there, and you should easily be able to pull a backflip off this jump, as well as a front flip. As for the last jumps achievement, Wings of Glory, this one basically just hit lots of jumps and you'll eventually get there to get to the 5 minutes of airtime. And finally, moving on to achievements, you will get over time Mount Everest, which you need to vertically climb 8,849 meters. This one I would say go on high peaks and spend a lot of time hill climbing. There's lots of good areas on the map where you can have chutes to climb up of and slowly build up to this achievement here. Some good areas I recommend that I like to do is this one here. You got multiple areas you can go all the way up and practice your hill climbing skills while gaining your achievement, as well as again this one here is a good one to practice on, as well as some other ones on the backside. There's lots of fun little areas on this map where you can find places to climb up. Dig Out Champion is pretty straightforward. As you're playing the game and you're getting stuck hitting trees, etc., you're just digging yourself out multiple times. This one really doesn't take much. I would say just play the game and you'll get there. For engine run-in and piston chains where you just have to drive, I recommend going on this map hills, as it's really flat and you can get lots of speed and go flying across the map easily. A good spot is up here in the map. It's got a really good flat straightaway, as well as the right side here where you can get lots of speed. Not have to worry about trees to work towards that achievement. For magnetic trees and tree hugger, I recommend going to the valley map as it has the maximum number of trees and just messing around because they're bound to hit a tree quite consistently. And for the last 3 achievements, for the Steam achievements, On One's Way, really cool. Look Mom No Skis. Again, hills, lots of flats to work with. Hit up one of those flat areas. The best way to do wheelies, in my opinion, is stay going slow, lean back as well, and hold that gas. You can keep popping this. Make sure you're not going very fast, otherwise it's going to be a lot more difficult to hold a wheelie. But anyway, guys, that does it for this Steam achievements for Sledders, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want help with in this game, make sure to drop it down in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.